Are you gonna be doing the tweets?
Yep. We're loading up the YouTubes now. I've got the tweets ready to go. I just need that hot little link, video unavailable. What does that mean? Can't be
Are
real.
we live yet?
Yeah, I hit the button. But hang on. Let me see what's going on here. What's going on here? Got some technical difficulties. So if we're live, thank you for your patience. View your channel. Yeah, we're live. There we go. I can see us now. Maybe hit the button. There we go. All right. All right. All right. Hey, happy new year to all. It's been a minute. I'm back with my brothers. We're here on the podcast. These guys need no introduction, but I do it every single week. Jeff DI, Nick, and Jepiza Gautam are here
Happy New
with
Year.
me to let's get into it, guys. I just sent out the stock twat and the Twitter notifications, so feel free to like, comment, subscribe, alert your friends, your cousins, your relatives. And we've known for some time that GP is living in the future, but he is living in the future right now. It's already January 2nd, 2 p.m. Where he's at. And GP, what's the market going to look like at 2 p.m. Eastern time today?
It's gonna remain flat. Sorry. I just we've been what, month two now? Anyway, first of all, happy New Year to you guys. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope 2024 kicks 2023's ass, and you guys have some of the most brilliant years. All the years of consolidation as human beings kind of hopefully explodes higher for everyone.
I love
I
that.
am looking. I'm looking forward to seeing what the markets do in 2024, and I'm quite excited that um, I remember all our conversations over the last couple of years, bags, and
So good.
it's just so exciting to see it actually work out and play out, right? I think we started having this conversation a while back about how we're in a downtrend versus we're flat. And so starting to see the markets kind of work out in the way that we've been talking about and where we've been discussing over the last couple of years is really nice to see. Um, and I'm looking forward to 2024 being one of the best years ever. So,
Ever.
whether markets, yeah, not markets for me personally, for you personally, for all of us
Yeah.
freaking human beings, not the markets, just for us, right? I just want it to be a phenomenal year for everyone. You know, hit the ground running. Don't stop till we're talking about this next year, right? So that's what I think the markets will do.
I GP, you just need to stay on vacation because I feel like Bear GP can never come out of this. This is just sounding wonderful. You're all optimistic and hopeful, and I love it.
But I'm always optimistic the markets, even when everyone's like, it's gonna die and go to zero.
Hey, I mean, there were a few
So,
weeks back in October, like you were.
dude, there's still a lot of stocks that have done nothing in 30 years. That hasn't changed. I
True that.
believe GE, even though it doubled last year, has still not made a higher high in 24 years.
True
Just
that.
saying. That's what
Hey,
I'm
Nick,
saying.
Yeah, yeah,
it's great to hear you, my brother. It's been a
yeah,
few weeks. Happy New
absolutely.
Year. How are you feeling? How do you think the market's going to open in 2024 in just over 13 hours, just over 12 hours now?
Okay, so interestingly, on Wednesday night, I came down with a fever. like a pretty nasty fever. I had, the chills and the body aches. So Thursday and Friday, I spent most of the day in bed. And coincidentally, I don't want to say that I've got like a crystal ball or anything, but anytime I've come down with like an illness or something of the sort, it it marks kind of a pivotal top in the markets. For instance, when like anyways, I don't want to go back too far. Either way,
Were you on
I think
ayahuasca?
where no, I was not. I was not.
Okay. All right. All right.
Where I'm
So
going with
you're
this
really
is just
sick
that
then.
I think that I'm trying to manage I'm trying to manage my expectations a little bit and thinking that, we've been up what 7, 8, 9 weeks now. I think some of the extended names are gonna pull in a little bit. Like I could definitely foresee some choppiness, or pull in action the first few weeks, just as kind of money rotates around. Um, Obviously I am wildly bullish, and I agree. I think over the course of the year, I think we steamroll ahead. I actually haven't, like, looking through my journals. The last time that I literally felt this way was the end of 2019 when Tesla was breaking out going into 2020. Not saying I
Wow.
think that, like, not saying that,
But
not saying that I think that COVID, like a black swan type thing is going to happen. I'm not saying that, but the last time that I was, I don't know, feeling whatever it is that I'm feeling, was 2019, end of 2019, that breakout.
Yeah, right there. I
let
was like,
let's just
yeah,
say
October, November.
let's just say that the mega caps have spent the last 6 months consolidating, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mega
Yep.
cap. So,
They
Apple,
could.
Nvidia that broke out in May has literally been sideways since May, up and down in this range of like 150 points since May as they're accumulating. Right, they pump it up to 500. They say it's too expensive. Let it dribble back down to like 400. Buy it again, and so they're setting up for the next leg higher in the market, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's next week or earnings or whatever it is. But the next
Sure.
leg is setting up here. And it's not just NVIDIA, it's Google, it's Amazon. It's these names that even didn't clear all-time highs last year, even though the Qs, let's take the Qs for example. Qs closed at 409.52. That is $1 higher than where it closed and reversed. I mean, sorry, where it opened and reversed in 2021. So for the year, we close all-time highs, right?
Yeah, we did.
So like that
Fuck
is
yeah, we did.
phenomenal. And
Give it up. Wait, we gotta give it up for the Bulls. Oh, sorry.
So, but if you're looking at a yearly candle, the yearly candle took out prior year's highs. Not only did it take out prior year's highs, it took out the last 2 years' highs. That is emphatically a very bullish fucking thing to do, right?
It made a hot dog on the yearly candle.
Yeah, a hot dog, but a hot dog that actually broke out already, right? So like if you're already looking at the yearly candles, it's already gone on to mustard and moving towards relish, right? Like it's going. I don't even know if that was fucking terrible. Sorry. But what I'm saying is that everyone's discounting the fact that mega caps have run. Every post I've seen so far is that mega caps are not going to have a good 2024. It's all about small caps, and I'm like,
Nah, I don't agree with that at all.
and so I'm like, wait, is anyone not seeing the fact that NVIDIA has been consolidating for 6 months? Google's been consolidating since July, Tesla since July, Netflix since July. Amazon is the only one that's slightly higher and kind of already breaking out of its consolidation from July. Microsoft has been consolidating since July. Like, these are all consolidating, and then you have all these other names that are starting to set up, like Shop, like Coin had. Can we just talk about Coin? How phenomenal! Anyway, sorry, I'm going off tangents. Yeah,
I think it's to your point though, I think it's the names, not coin in particular, but more of the IW names or the names that have ripped in the fashion that coin has that could rest while big cap steps up and breaks out of these bases.
And so what does that
You know,
do? The
like as
Qs, right? The Qs move higher.
exactly. Yeah.
And so that's like, unless everything collapses here, the Qs are set up to move higher because they're rotating through sectors one by one, right? While they're still maintaining all-time high closes on the Qs. So to me, unless some of this stuff starts failing, and we'll know that, I think, as we talked about the last two podcasts, first beginning year podcast, Netflix is the way of the future, right? So Netflix earnings coming up on January 19th. Its reaction most likely will determine how the year goes for all stuff, right? So Netflix is also the only one, I think, out of all the mega caps that hasn't filled its 2022 gap down on inherently better fundamentals, right? So chart setting up for a bigger breakout move here in Netflix, in my opinion. So I think if Netflix breaks out on earnings, the markets are going to have a phenomenal year in 2024.
Netflix fucks.
Dude, it led out of October and everyone ignored it, right? Like everyone's like, oh, the markets are
Guilty.
dying, but
Guilty. I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
think the
yeah.
markets were dying, but I was like, we got to get through this 220 area. And then we did. And I was like, all right, we got to get through this like 280 area. And it did. And now it's 480.
Yeah. And it continues. Like, it's wild. It moves crazy all the time. Don't get me wrong. But when it was the first to bottom in May 2022, and it has not looked back, right? So ignore it at your own desires, but
On
it has told
peril.
us dude, it was one of the first to top out in July, right? Before we had that nasty 4-month annoyance. So it showed you in July where it was going. It showed you in October where it was going. Continues to pave the road for you ahead. And most people continue to be like, oh, well, now it's a mature company. Maybe it's not the same reaction. It's like, no, it's the same shit. It keeps happening. Anyway, I will get off my
So,
little pedestal here.
so this is for either one of you or both of you or whatever. Just thinking of consolidation, right? I mean, some of these names have run pretty hard. How long do we think consolidation could be? Because we still have, and you mentioned them, GP, Amazon, I mean, it quite frankly has more to go to reach all-time highs. Tesla has been in consolidation mode for quite some time, right? I mean, you only
Yeah.
need a couple of these mega cap names to really start the fire again, right? Regardless of what small caps and IWM does, like we're talking about true market movers. So how long could consolidation be when we have some of these that are quite frankly like a tinderbox?
Ready to go.
So to me, I think any moves usually happen after January OPEX, right? That's my personal opinion. And just in time for earnings, January OPEX tends to be very heavy money. People buy leaps there all the time. It is a big kind of, so even last year in January 2023, we started showing signs the first week of January. When did we break out? After January OPEX, right? We literally just took off after January OPEX. And I think there's a lot of options flow that happens there, a lot of positioning that happens there for long-term holders that becomes a hairy point. So we could, as you said, Nick, we've been 9 weeks straight up. We could chop around here for a little bit, no doubt about it. But I think it's earnings. I think it's January OPEX. I think it's a culmination of events that gets us the next leg, and we'll see. Right? If the
Yeah.
reactions to these earnings are terrible, then you know where we're going. Right? And Netflix will
Thank
give
you
you the first
for
example 2 days before OPEX even closes. You'll get an idea.
Thank you for explaining why you wait till after January OPEX. You knew I was going to ask you that, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I like if you take a look, I think net last year or this past year, January into March, um,
On what
kind of
chart?
beginning into on the Qs, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just looking from like basically like December, January into March, I think that is a very similar kind of setup that we're gonna see. Whether last week was the pivot highs and we're gonna start to kind of correct here for a few weeks, or we
I mean,
continue to
it's not much of
run
a
and then
consolidation. January into March, like you had a big move upward into
are you on the
the end
where are
of
you
January.
on the yeah, are you on the what time? Oh, you're on the
I'm on
weekly.
the weekly.
Flip over to the daily. See how we kind of ran off the lows there, consolidate, just kind of grinded sideways until what is that is that like the 200 day? That what moving average is that? Oh, it looks like the 50-day, the orange.
Yep. Yep.
Basically, what we pulled kind of grinded right into there. I think that's kind of what the roadmap that I'm taking. I mean, the way that I'm positioned for either. If we do start to correct, there's names that I want to add lower. I'm already like crazy long, so if I have to add more on strength, I'm fine with that too.
Okay, so you said correct. That
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean fall off the planet,
Oh
but
fuck no. No, no, no,
but
no.
that could be a 10% pullback, 5% pullback.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to see the Qs under 400. I wouldn't be surprised to even see them hold the 20-day.
Yep.
Um, I wouldn't be surprised to see like 393, 395 if we did start to pull back. I'm still, even if we do correct, I think it will be very, very shallow, kind of to the conversation that we've been having the last couple months, where like, back to when GP talking about a lockout rally. I think that's gonna continue unless we see some major character change.
So now the question is, um, if let's just say 400, let's just say the Qs pull back into 400. That's about a what? It's about a 3% pullback, a
3%.
little,
Yeah. Okay.
little, little less than that. Um, People gonna be scared to buy that? I mean,
Would they be?
I'm not gonna be scared to buy it.
I
But
think that every dip buyer is gonna, or like at least dip buyer that chirps about dip buying will want a bigger pullback, won't buy
yep,
it. I
yep.
think there'll be those that do, but you know,
Sounds like miserable bear theory in play.
The pullback's going to be from 430.
from
So
430,
we're going to 430 and then we're going to pull back.
sure.
We're going to pull back to all-time highs as a retest, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, double top failure!" And
Then rip.
So
Sure.
GP, you're saying Qs are going to 430 and then they pull back.
That's my thought process. It's going to be a grind,
Mm,
right? It's like
yeah, no, I'm
we've already had 9 weeks up, right? So it's not going to be an easy 430. But my personal opinion is the breakout here is to about 430 ish, right? The move over the last couple of weeks is about 16, 17 points. So the extension of that move gets to about like 425, 430, and then we get the pullback to this area, undercut, whatever.
so
Get a
that's
chance
your
to let things
lockout
pull up.
rally. You either buy here or you're not getting anything lower.
Oh, you've been locked up for like a month and a half now. So
Yeah. But like if someone were waiting to pull the trigger on something, just wanting a 5% or whatever pullback, like this is probably as good as you're going to get it, is what I'm hearing from you.
is my thought process, yes, because I think I'm looking at the mega caps as consolidated, right? Not distributive. So if they're
Yeah.
being consolidated and if they're getting ready for the next leg higher, then you could see a push into like the 430 area into or after Netflix earnings, like into January OpEx, and then see it continue to pull back after that. I don't know the exact time frame on things, but ultimately, I think it's higher from here and then lower to a point where we retest this area that we've just kind of built a mini base on. And then when we get back to the retest is what we'll have to see on how things react. Most likely it'll get bought up and we'll do better, but you'll have to see. You can't you assume that these are things are going to hold, but if they don't, they don't, right? So if
Yeah,
it
for
is
sure.
a trap and it is a double top, and you'll have to take it as is. But as of now, I think these are consolidative, and I think the moves are higher here, and people have been locked out. And
I
if
mean,
you remember January 2023, the conversations weren't about the stock market, except if you were listening to this podcast. Everyone, sorry, shameless plug. And maybe Tom Lee, because Tom Lee was calling it too, so I'll give him the credit as well. But we were sitting here, we're talking about how the markets are gonna beast out for 2023, and fuck yeah, they did. And so I think I think a lot of people at this time when we were talking about the markets breaking higher were shoveling money into treasuries, into 13-week treasuries, into 26-week treasuries, into 1-year treasuries. So you have potential money that's going to be coming out of these bills while people awaited macro to get better. And guess what? Macro has gotten better. And you can say that things have gotten worse, and I'd agree with you in parts of that, but overall inflation has come down. The Fed has already announced that it's not going to um, the rate hike cycle is at an end, and so that money that starts to mature starts coming back into. I'm not talking about money market funds. I'm talking about people who literally took money out of the stock market and put it into safe treasuries. I'm like, shit, I missed a 55% move higher in the Qs while I got 5.5% because I wanted to be safe, right? But I think some of that money starts flowing in, and that's probably towards like the end of January, February, March area is what I think. So I think you have a new wave of buyers that are going to come in because they're like, holy crap, my opportunity cost is just crap. Cost me a lot of money.
All right. So if we all think we're going higher from here, whether it's somewhat immediately as a grind higher or we consolidate a little more, what are we buying? What
I
are we
think
buying in all-time highs?
Disney.
there's a lot I like. I like everything that's starting to go stage 2 here. So like snow looks fucking awesome, set up to go here. You know what actually looks really good on the back of like crypto and stuff is like I like the way Hood looks. Like
Hood looks
it looks like
amazing.
it's
I ain't even
right.
gonna
Hood
Like
does look good, but it's Hood. I can't like, and
I
they're
know.
making some really good business choices,
You know
right?
what chart
They're
that
made
looks
fun of a
second to
lot.
that?
Uber still looks amazing to me.
I
And
Um,
what do you see about snow? Can we go back to snow for a second? Because I don't
yeah.
see what anyone's seeing in snow, and I want to understand why everyone is so goddamn bullish on this. And all I see
you're at the top of the
is
range flagging.
Yeah, just a stage. It's just a stage 1 base, like long horizontal consolidation. I mean,
I don't
Bags
see
has got
much
diag.
accumulation in this base, so I don't see how this base works. But I've been wrong before, and if you're I just don't. I looked at the chart this morning, and I just could not understand why people were so bullish on this name. And I'm like,
I
I
think
don't
just
see
the
it.
fact that it's remained relatively expensive and has again kind of held into this like sideways. I mean, I know Bags has got diagonal lines drawn, but you could also just draw complete horizontal lines too,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so I think it's more of the base look than the volume profile, probably, at least for me.
Yeah. So
There you
like
go.
this is
Yeah.
so where I'm struggling is, and so like I'm looking at charts of Coin, Roku, Shop. They all had their big stage 1 kind of moves higher, and then spent 4 months just destroying everyone's hopes and dreams, and now are pushing to getting out to stage 2 moves. So like moves like Roku, Shop, Coin, Those are the ones I'm looking for, and I don't see that in
Sure.
snow here because I didn't see a big move higher. And maybe I'm just biased and I'll just stay out of the conversation. But I don't see this as stage 2 yet. Like
No, it
I don't know.
has. I think that's kind of thing. It hasn't broken out yet.
Yeah, but if you're to me, if you're looking at stage 2 breakouts, the shop one is the one that screams to me, right? Like in terms of it had a big move from 28 all the way to 90, what was it, 70? So 200% move higher,
Yeah.
and then a 50% correction to now getting back to that level and attempting to reclaim the weekly rising 200 SMA here on the verge of breaking out to stage 2. Whereas
I mean,
snow for
I'm
me, snow never had that big move higher. It went from what in 2023 was range bound for the most part between 140 and 198, right? So I just what I would have liked to have seen is probably a bigger move, and maybe I'm just not I'm not seeing it. That's fine. I'll just stay out of the conversation. Sorry.
It hasn't
Brent
to your
says
to
CME and
your
CBOE. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
well, no, to your accumulation distribution point, the number of funds involved literally hasn't changed in the last 4 quarters. So
For
like,
snow, right?
yeah, for snow. So it's like
And
16,
that's my
22,
exact point.
yeah. So the EPS numbers are growing and they're accelerating, but it hasn't seen any fund like any real, yeah, you're spot on.
And the only accumulation I've seen in snow on a weekly basis, there's been quite a few distribution candles in this accumulation that we talk about, is November of this year, of 2023, sorry. So like I said, it can still move higher. I'm not saying it's not going to move higher. I just didn't understand the lure or the desire here. When to me, there's a lot better stage 2, stronger stage 2. Let me say it that way. That are
Sure,
on the
sure.
verge of pushing higher. And I get that it stayed expensive relatively compared to others, so there's probably a reason for it, right? But like my
You said
stage
Disney.
2 Disney I like a lot. Disney did what I wanted Square to do, but Square did not. Wait, how great was that 38 call on Square? It literally hit 38 and has not looked back since. I was hoping for tax loss selling into year end, and it just kept getting
Didn't
bought
happen.
more. Did
Ugh.
not happen. However, Disney did, right? Disney had its reflexive move back to the 200 SMA into December, and then spent basically December into the year end consolidating right back down to the 50-day, 200-day moving average, and allowing for the golden cross that is about to happen. I think this is the start of a very beautiful and powerful move higher in Disney.
Yeah, I just haven't won any part under 90. So as long as it stays above 90, I like Mickey. Um, I flashed over to Target. Since that earnings beat, there was no tax loss selling there either.
Yep, just straight annoyingly grinding higher, but doing
Week after
well,
week,
right?
1.5%,
Yeah,
1.5%, 2%, 2%, week after week.
yeah. I like Target as well. I think we talked about Target, right?
We did.
Right
Yeah, we
before
did.
the earnings. And there was such a pair trade. They crushed Walmart. They bought Target. I was like, can you say rotation anything faster?
So my question was, what are we buying? Was more
Sure.
of an attempt to see, are we buying beaten up names that
No.
has potential, or are we sticking with winners?
I think you
Because
have to
I
have
would
a
argue
combination.
Disney and Target are both beaten up names, right?
Other name is Intel. Intel looks beautiful.
Yeah, that was a massive print last week.
I'm
Yeah,
not buying
and
beaten up names. Like if there was again, like kind of to GP's point, like if there's setups like snow that are stage 1 and they do break out, I'd be tempted to buy him. But other than that, like I'd again to his point, I think sticking with names that have already gone stage two, and at this point, because if they've already gone stage two, that means like what we're getting right now or what we'll be getting is basically just a correction, and then they've already proven themselves, and we're going to be getting continuation.
Randy says
And that's what-
both. He says
that-
buy everything.
But yeah,
Happy New Year's to you too, Randy. If you're asking for strength, I say strength will remain in names like Shop, in names like Roku, in names like Coin that had massive moves from the bottoms, their respective bottoms, had 100, 200, 250% moves higher, and the people who caught the bottoms were starting to sell, aka the consolidation, and then had their 50%, 38% fib retracements essentially, and now are pushing right back towards the top of that end. So to me, you've built the energy to have a bigger, higher, more sustained breakout. I think you're calling it stage two, Nick. I look at it as like the third wave in like Elliott wave theory or whatever, but
sure.
it's the bigger move higher that's with shallower pullbacks all the way through.
All right, here you go. So Nick, you brought up Hood, right? And I would argue Hood's a beaten up name. And GP, you bring up Coin, and Coin is a very strong name. Nick, I'm giving you $20,000 of my money to invest in Coin or Hood, which is going to have the greater return? Hood
Over the
Coin?
next, oh shit, great. Hold on.
And we're just talking about 2024. I'm not saying this is your pick for the year. I'm just saying, all right, you said we're buying strength, but you chose Hood, and GP says, look at Coin and look at Disney, which is kind of strength and weakness laggard, right? So
they're both going to follow what crypto does, I think, for the most part. So,
but Coin is the sole winner. Hood is not the sole winner. So I personally, for me, I would go Coin. But there's just a shit ton more accumulation in Coin than there is.
I wouldn't be
sorry, but I'll let you answer it.
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see Coin go 400 plus, whereas like Hood, yeah, I could see it back to like its IPO range up there, like let's just say in the 40s, but if you're giving me whatever your 20K, I'd put it in coin as well versus Hood.
All right. So
based on your numbers there, Hood would make a higher percentage move than Coin would, right? If it goes to 40s, that's nearly a 300 plus move.
If Hood actually breaks out of here, though,
that'd be 200% roughly. Coin would be 135%.
Yeah.
Randy says put 15K in Coin and 5K in Hood. Call it a day.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's the same thing, right?
You know what looks amazing right now?
I know I'm playing devil's advocate as I always do with you guys. I don't know, man. I think you just keep playing with what's working. I don't necessarily think you look to go find, the next NVDA or the next coin. And I'm not saying that, you completely find something that is so beaten up that nobody wants it. But like, I like NVIDIA here, right? Like NVIDIA looks great.
NVIDIA or AMD? What do you think?
AMD looks great, and they're strong.
Intel.
So I say keep going with what's working. You guys know I'm big AMD and Amazon, and like neither one of those stocks have reached their all-time high yet. So if everything's going to all-time highs, surely these two are going to all-time highs, right? Like surely. Anyway.
If you're thinking about human psychology in theory, I think most people who have what I was talking about earlier, put money into treasuries, will most likely be looking for beaten up names to put money to work.
Will it?
Um, I
Like
I
dividends, beating
personally
up names?
who yeah who not dividends because you can
Or
get
something like
5% for like
Paramount?
too much debt. Um, in
Well,
my
I mean,
opinion,
that's a beaten up name.
yeah, but like so like underperformers, right? Like so I think AMD probably outperforms NVIDIA this year, right? Doesn't mean NVIDIA is not going to go higher, but I think if you're comparing absolute basis, AMD probably outperforms them because it becomes like a hey, these guys haven't even caught up to NVIDIA yet or even close to it. So let me see if I get better returns from AMD versus um, NVIDIA, which is why I also think Intel is going to be a monster year, right? Over either one of those, because they not only have the the chart, so to speak, the history and stuff like that with accumulation year, inside year. They also have a huge investment from the government itself, right? They're getting a lot of backing from that. So I personally think Intel continues to outperform both of those. My personal
Rachel
opinion.
is in the chat and she brought up a great point. People who are buying treasuries, do you think they're going to buy individual names, or do you just think they're just going to go, throw money into index funds? I think they're probably going to just throw money into index funds.
Let me think that through. Um, no, I think they go for individual names because they're going to see potentially that the index funds are only going to return, I don't know, say 15-20% for the year versus other names that could return much more than that. So I think they're going to want to play catch up trades. That's my personal opinion because they've missed out on a huge year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you get caught up if you're just playing index. And that's how I'm thinking about it from a psychology perspective is like, shit, if you were one of those guys, let's say you had $1 million cash and you put it into treasury funds and you're happy making your 55 grand a year of interest, but you missed the 55% in the Qs or the 25% in the S&P, and your money's now maturing, you're going to think about what to do with it. And you're going to be like, wow, Qs are already all the way here at all-time highs. Should I think about buying AMD? It's still 30%. Or should I buy Tesla or whatever, right? And so I personally think people will do that. But that's my opinion. No, no dividend ones. No one wants
No
dividend.
divvies. All right. So,
Well, interest until they cut, right? Interest rates are still 5.25% in treasury bills.
yeah.
So why would you put your money in risk on assets with dividends because they can get beaten up or whatever versus treasuries? That's if I was putting money to work, I would put them in treasury bills and I put them in short-term treasury bills to see what the market does over the next, I don't know, month or whatever, right? Versus, I don't know, an Altria group, right? It's got a 9% dividend, but
Right.
it had a red year, and it broke 2022 lows, right? On top of that, broke and closed below 2022 lows. So would I be putting money to work in Altria Group here, even at a 9% dividend? No, they'll probably cut dividends before they do anything else.
Yeah.
I've got lots of opinions, as you can see.
We've never heard your opinions before, so thank you for sharing.
But even Verizon, which had a pretty solid close to the end of the year, closed well below the prior year's lows on heavy volume, distribution volume, right? So the chart is telling you they don't want a part of any of these dividend names either.
But you do. You pick up some more Verizon on the cheap.
Oh, back when it was 31.
Right.
Would I be buying it here? Probably not.
Nick, would you be
Until it
buying any
shows.
divvies right here? Or just stick with the growth? Stick with what's been working.
Yeah, I'm sticking with growth. What's working? Verizon. I
Pratt's
think
in the
Verizon.
chat and he wanted to know about ARC. I think meanwhile Kathy's got it going on, man.
Yeah, I think it's getting
ARK
ready to
needs
break out.
Tesla.
I think Moderna is gonna be is like a big I'd be watching Moderna both in terms of like how the IBB, XBI behave. It broke out of a pretty like long. I think it could be another year with these names. I like the return of Kathy.
The return of Kathy. It all depends on Tesla and T-Doc. No, but
Is she still on
Just
T-Doc?
terrible.
I have
Yeah.
not. Probably. I mean, she's
I'm
got to
pulling
be,
up her holdings right now, so give me a second.
yeah, she's got to be like above the 10% ownership of T-Doc at this point.
So ironically enough, her largest holding is no longer Tesla. It is actually Coin.
Oh, after growth.
Yes. So Coin is $1.1 billion, if I'm reading. Yeah, $1.1 billion. And Tesla's actually at 707 million. And underneath that are the names that I think are gonna break out to the next stages. So like
Wow.
outside of Tesla, which has not been acting great, Path looks great, Roku looks good, Zoom looks good, Square looks good, Roblox looks good. CRISPR, I haven't looked at the chart yet, so I don't know. But Twilio looks good. You looks
Unity,
great. You's had a
Shopify, Hood. I mean, the only
Yeah,
name on
dude,
this hit list we haven't really touched on is Drunken Kings there.
Yeah.
God, I hate SPACs.
Yeah, it's the
DraftKings
return
had
of
a
Meemaw
monster
Kathy
year.
Pratt to answer
Yeah.
your question. I mean, it's good underneath, and she's been making moves. Like this has been a really strong year. I mean, off the
I'm
bottom.
surprised that's not talked about, Bags, more that Tesla is no longer its largest holding. You thought the media would be
It had to have just
all over
happened
that.
recently.
Yeah, but you know the media's over it within seconds.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for
Well,
that, like
she's
it's
been kind of poo-pooed, right? Because of 2022. I mean,
yeah,
that's a pretty dramatic decrease in 2022. She's only up 73% for 23, but
I
nobody's
know.
talking about that. Nobody's giving her the props, right? So,
I give her poo poo for buying T-Doc and continuing to buy T-Doc.
yeah, I
Everything
do.
else is fine. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
But the other names under her top 10 holdings all look like they're about to start their bigger moves higher, especially you. You looks great. Tesla's the only one that looks iffy at best, right? And Tesla's one of those things that can perform even if the index has dropped like 10-20% tomorrow, right? Like Tesla, it just operates in its own world. So,
What does
but
it report
Roku tomorrow or
Doesn't
Tuesday or
Tesla have
whatever.
Tesla
Yeah,
Who
have
just
does
as
something?
math?
delivery numbers, quarter end delivery numbers.
Oh, okay.
Who
The
Tesla?
fact that we're still, yeah, Tesla does his quarter end and year end delivery numbers. The fact that quarter end and year end delivery numbers still matter for this company is
Yeah.
just mind boggling to me. But it's up there tomorrow, January 2nd or 3rd, depending on how long Elon needs to massage the numbers in the right way.
Take a look at Boeing.
Yeah, Boeing looks good.
I was gonna ask you, what do you think of like financials like Goldman, JP
I
Morgan, et
was
cetera,
looking
et
at
cetera?
financials today. I actually love them. I
Yeah.
mean, they have some
Dude,
good looks. I know GP likes Goldman. Always look at Morgan, but they're basically the same chart.
Yeah.
and we talked about this in March as well, right? Of last year. And financials and the markets collapsing because of US treasuries being valued in an unrealized capacity on these guys' books was not going to ever be the reason the markets crash. It is it is consolidating above a 13-year base. It is shaking the tree as hard as possible, and financials look great. It is
I mean, look at
holding the
this. I
weekly.
mean, Citibank's only up 36% in the fourth quarter. I mean, Citibank.
Yeah, no, shitty bank.
Yeah, they look good.
I think financials look great. We talked about there's so much ammo because they're not crushing everything in 2023. They were rotating things, rotating between things.
Sorry,
Right?
Randy said RSI instead of DraftKings. I hadn't heard of RSI, so I pulled it up. It's a big old rounded bottom there. Randy always drops some gems for us, and it has to be us to recognize those jewels and pick them up. And this one looks really good,
Yeah.
Randy. I like it.
Roblox looks great too. Have you guys been watching that?
Oh yeah.
That looks phenomenal off the bottom of the touch, and there's a lot of stuff that looks good, and that's the
I
part
mean, it
that
looks
always
just
scares
like
me.
the hood chart. It's really similar.
Yes, very similar chart. But Rivian looks good too, though I did see
Rivian.
quite a few puts because I think they release delivery numbers tomorrow as well,
They do.
and so
NEO released numbers today, and they were like up 13%.
Who?
NEO.
Neo, and you saw Fisker do it on Friday, right?
Yep.
FSR.
Yep.
And so Rivian, but I did see a handful of big puts come in on Rivian Friday late, so that always kind of concerns me. But start over the longer period of time, I think Rivian will be fine. These are just binary events where people can make money off of options. But it's interesting, right? Like we spent most of 2023 beating down the solar names and the electric names for the most part. And now they're coming out and they're crushing estimates, right? So Neo crushed, Fisker, which was left for dead, also crushed. See what Tesla does tomorrow. And if Tesla doesn't crush, but Rivian does and Fisker does, the narrative I'm sure that will form is market shares being taken away from Tesla.
So there was some call selling in this is all I'm looking at Rivian's flow on Friday, and there's a lot of call selling at the $20 level.
Yep.
Then
they also bought this week's 2350 puts.
Yep. 22 and a half.
And they bought January 12 and a half puts. Which
so it wouldn't be a big
fair.
shake if it did come down some. It seems pretty contained.
Yeah, I just remember I think it was a couple of quarters ago where it had like I think a 50 or 60% move off of like deliveries.
Yep.
I just don't think that it's gonna be that. So it just be muted until earnings or whatever.
Yep. 65 days out.
Yep.
Wow.
But so the biggest concern for me is the things look so good that it could be contrarian. So that's the only when charts always look this good, it's what's going to be the thing that derails it.
There's enough that still are laggards though that don't look as great.
Yeah.
Maybe that's bad omen for them if everything else looks good. I don't know.
Can I talk about something I've hated for a long time?
Go for it.
Okay. So I was looking at the oil chart.
Oh.
And
crude futures?
Oil futures, yeah.
Yeah, crude futures.
And so oil looks like it's about to break the hell out.
Break out.
So if you look at a monthly time frame, it's been pulling back this whole year or so. And what it's allowing to do on the largest time frame that most people watch is it's about to get the golden cross on the monthly time frame. the 50-month is about to cross over the 200-month after, when was the last time it crossed down? In 2017. After 2017, we had a blip higher and then came straight down, and we went to negative oil. And so we are in a very similar but opposite scenario where the 50-month has been rising, and it is about to cross over the rising 200 SMA.
It's
So
gonna have, like, I see what you're saying, GP. I think it's gonna need to prove that it can stay above where it is currently, right? To get that cross.
But this is typical, right? On the crosses, you have the consolidation, and then after after the cross and the consolidation happened, it rips higher, right? And people are like, "Oh, what's happening?"
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So, like, and to me, it was like I was looking at mostly daily and weekly time frames, and so when I looked at this chart this morning and I saw I saw this cross getting closer, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow that oil rips, but this could be a very powerful year for oil. Maybe the back half of the year."
XLE
But
all the way, baby.
This is a monthly
Gosh.
time frame, right? So this is not a 6-month move either. Monthly time frames like this is probably a couple-year move. Just food for thought.
High oil prices don't usually lead to higher tech stock prices, right?
Depends on what narrative do they want to flip.
Okay.
But I think the concern that oil got destroyed was deflationary, right? So if oil starts going down, then the conversation flips from deflation to reinflation again, or whatever narrative they want to freaking throw out there. But chart wise, oil on a monthly time frame actually looks pretty solid, and that's kind of scary to me. And
just
crude
blew
futures
my
are up.
mind.
I haven't been paying too much attention to XLE names really.
I know,
Or
and nor have I, right? Like they've just been underperforming. So, and even when they die, they don't die in any meaningful way to capitalize on it. So it's just been like, it's been looking like distribution on my end on all the names. But then I look at this monthly oil chart and I'm like, maybe it was just consolidation for the next leg higher. And so I haven't spent time on, I just looked at oil this morning. So I thought I'd throw this out there as a crowdsourcing project as well, as this is potentially a really multi-year bullish development happening here.
I just said, holy shit, this man is bullish crude.
Hey man, it is good to be able to readjust your narratives when the charts prove that they're changing. So I will be bearish when I think I need to be bearish, and bullish when I need to be.
Yeah, no, I feel you, brother. I was just,
but doesn't
for
mean
so
that oil
long, like
and
this
the
is like, I'm all for being able to change your mind and switch your narrative and owning where we have been and where we are going to go. I just didn't expect you to be bullish crude. That's all.
Neither did I. And I was,
yeah,
I
it's not
literally,
something.
I mean, you could have
sat
literally
there.
said, "You guys, I've been looking at this, and I want to tell you something. You know what I think looks good?" And like it could have been like you
I
could have
wouldn't
given
have
me 10 guesses, and I probably wouldn't have said crude or energy.
And
No, me neither.
Bags, I shit you not. I was literally sitting there this morning for like a good 10 minutes and just looking at the chart, and I'm like, shit.
You're like, am I high right now? Like, am I really feeling these feelings?
But we talk about this quite often, right? Monthly time frame over the weekly time frame over the daily time frame. And so on a monthly, you're starting to see potentially a really big bullish moment happening here. So you have to acknowledge it, right? And the price of oil has stayed. I thought we would hit 54, and that never happened, right? And every time I thought it was going to happen, it kept getting bought up, and now you see it on the chart because there's a golden cross forming on one of the largest time frames. So I'm like, okay, we'll have to reevaluate.
Rachel wants us to talk about crypto. I would love to do that, Rachel.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's bullish as fuck.
Isn't it 45,000 already?
Yeah, did it touch 45 or yeah, it touched 45.
My gosh, coin is gonna pop like $20 tomorrow. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, Rachel, I don't know what you want me to talk about. I think that we're not quite in alt season, but we're getting closer to alt season as we see some of these bigger gains and some of these altcoins are starting to happen. But Bitcoin is still strong and Bitcoin is still running. I mean, I posted a chart I shared with Anchors Away earlier, and I think we could get into the 46s before we see some type of like speed bump. That's what I've had charted for months now. But as you can see, I mean, it's just stair stepping, it's just flagging higher until it breaks a moving average like 33K. Like I think I even saw Cookie post about 33K. Until it got down to 33K, I mean, all dips are getting bought up. I mean, you're going through a little consolidation. How many days is that of consolidation? Basically, the entire month of December was consolidation, and now we're popping again. So I think you
35 is 45.
you look at ETH, you see the same thing. I mean, I know Solana has gone nuts, right? I mean, it looks great to me. I don't know if you guys have any alternative views to what I'm presenting here, but I mean, the whole space looks great from a chart perspective.
Yeah.
That Solana has ripped.
Yeah, Solana's going nuts, but this is crypto, right? This is why everyone's so attracted to crypto, because you can make 100% in a day.
Or you could lose a substantial bit in a day, right? Like it swings both ways.
We don't talk about losses on FinTwit. Don't you know this?
No, we don't lose here. We don't lose money. Come on. Get out of here.
Facts only, Bags. Nobody ever lost.
Yeah.
This podcast.
Well, if you never sell, no, sorry. Like, so Bitcoin looks great to me. I think it's breaking out, and if the king is breaking out, the queen and all of its soldiers will break out with it.
Right? Yeah, they all follow. Rachel, I think ETH looks fine. It's been in a smaller laggard pattern of what Bitcoin's doing. I mean, again, like if you look at the charts really closely, like they're pretty similar.
Look up, dude. Rachel, the break of this takes it to 3,200 easy on ETH, right? Like this is it's tapping against that resistance of 23. I've had this line on my chart forever. Looks like 2380.
Yeah, I think 33 is like next leg up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's consolidating. It's literally had a doji on the week, which was higher than the week before. And now this entire week so far is in the wick of last week. Right.
So I mean, I was telling the guys I trade with on ETH, like I was waiting for 19, and I was waiting for 21, and now it's at 24. Like again, it just me being lazy and not being more active watching crypto a little bit. But I had my opportunities. I didn't put orders in. Now it's 23 and it's going to break out just like Bitcoin is. So,
but it's not going to act like Solana, right? Like it's mature, more mature product.
Right.
So Bitcoin and ETH tend to have less percentage moves higher, but more sustained.
Correct.
And other like crypto alt names tend to have large move names higher, but also large move down. More volatility, I guess, is the answer.
Bigger the base, higher into outer space.
Yes.
There's some Link looks great. I've been watching Link's flagging. Look at that weekly chart. Who doesn't want some
Yeah.
of that? I mean, that's, I wouldn't call that a frying pan, but that's, hard flat bottom there, and now you've got a little handle out here. Excuse me. I think Link looks great.
ICP is another one.
Yeah, Internet Protocol.
Yeah.
Some of the names haven't even moved, like Stellar.
Well, there's tons of shit coins, right? There's shit coins for a reason, but like,
Ooh, Cardano looks great. What the hell? All right.
what's Doji doing? That'll be able
It's
to
under
give us
9.
the
It's been down for 3 weeks now. Look at
Okay.
Cardano. Or is that coin done?
You follow QNT?
No.
ADA. I mean, look at that. I mean, if you caught anything off the October bottoms, you're 150% on Cardano.
Look at that consolidation,
I
right?
mean,
Like
you
it
look at
looks,
even like a coin like Mana,
yeah.
103% in 2 months. Aave is one of my favorites. Bags Brothers Capital, 136%. The Graph, that's another one. The Graph didn't make new lows like some others did. Graph looks really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's crypto summer, right? It's not crypto winter anymore. So
yeah. And we should be having Bitcoin happening soon.
and do people think that's gonna be the trigger for the crypto consolidation or whatever? Do you think
When
that's
is
the case?
Bitcoin? I think it was going to be like April, maybe.
Yeah.
Countdown clock. 106 days, 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 22 seconds. April 17th, 2024. Well, when we look at
Someone
the
someone asked
halvings,
about
right?
Chinese stocks.
When we looked at the halving, I mean, this is what happened back here, right? All right. Anyway, is that enough crypto for you, Rachel?
Someone was asking about
Crypto is
Chinese stocks, Bags.
crypto is live on. I love Chinese stocks. I know you probably never anticipated to hear that from me. Like GP pivoted on crude. I'm pivoting on Chinese stocks. I mean, the risk, of course, is you're the government headwinds that we might have. But Baba's been on my watch list for a couple of weeks now. I mean, I'm already in Neo, which is Chinese electric car. You guys like PDD
PDD
still,
looks
right?
pretty. Yeah, PDD still looks pretty good. JD still looks like crap though.
It does, but
But
it
it
popped.
had that monster volume, right? So these are warning shots to me. Right? When you have these monster volumes, like, yeah, shorts are realizing they've overstayed their welcome. So
Somebody brought up SE not too long ago. I think it's looking good. Look at that volume coming in on that guy. No,
no, I think it's I like it. I don't know if I like it. I'd have to spend more time on this chart. I can't give you an opinion.
I mean
And so it might be one of those plays where they've just run out of sellers, right? Like Square had just run out of sellers. There's just no one left to sell anymore.
and look at Square.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's to me, it's maybe not accumulation from that perspective, but it's like, okay, we just don't have any more sellers. It's been so beaten up. That's it. That's it. We're done. So the only natural direction is higher.
Nick, you like any of those names?
Which ones?
Any of the Chinese names?
Yeah, I like LI. I did like Netties. I guess I didn't really see it get absolutely obliterated. Um, yeah, LI is really the only one that I've been. What was the other one? Was a PD? Which one was a
PDD,
PDD?
yeah.
Yeah, PDD looks amazing too.
Yeah.
All those
Um,
Temu packages coming to your door.
yeah, I think
Hey,
LI looks like kind of similar to like I don't know why, but I think it looks kind of similar to Uber. Um, but
mm,
just in terms, I'm sorry, the monthly. I like the monthly look to it, but um, the other ones, no, not really, not so much.
All right, fair enough.
so bags,
Yeah.
two things.
So,
I shall be on a Twitter Spaces on January, I believe, 3rd with Short Seller
oh, nice.
after the markets. If anyone cares to drop in and listen, I believe it's me, Short Seller, and a few other people. He's asked me to join, so I'm going to be chatting about the markets and direction for that too.
Tune
And
in.
yes, it'll be right after the market closes, from what I understand. And the question I'm forgetting, what were our stock picks?
What were our stock picks for this quarter?
Yeah. Yes.
This quarter's stock picks were Advanced Auto, United Rentals, and Freshworks.
Nice. Now I can make a list of it.
You took, I need to tell you who you took, obviously. You took Advanced.
Yeah.
Nick took United Rentals, URI, and your boy over here took Freshworks. Let's see what they did.
Nice.
17% for Freshworks, 20% for United Rentals, and 20% for Advance. Hey, I'm 4% behind. Come on, Freshwork, you laggard.
All right, guys. I'm here in New
Peace.
Zealand, so I gotta sign
Enjoy
off and spend
vacation,
time with
GP. It
family.
was great talking to you, my brother. It was great talking to you, Nick. It was great for the three of us to be together. It's been 3 weeks and I missed you guys. I'm glad we did our happy holidays and all that, but happy New Year's to you all again. Thanks for everyone in the chat. We had a great turnout tonight. We love it. We appreciate it. As always, please share our content. Thank you for listening and watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you next Monday